Moms get fit physically, mentally, and emotionally. Today, we are going to talk about 6 ways that busy working moms can prevent burnout, okay? 6 ways busy working moms can prevent burnout. Feel free to share this to other moms on your profile because I'm sure that this information is going to be needed. If you're here live, come in and just say hello, where you're coming from. If you're a busy working mom yourself, and if you're watching the replay, just hashtag replay, okay? So we're going to get started. The working mom has quite a bit on her plate, which makes it likely that she will burn out. Avoiding burnout is important for stress levels as well as mental health. A moderate amount of stress is healthy. As we live this life, we cannot avoid stress. But too much stress can cause health issues. Let me repeat that again since I messed up the first time. The working mom has quite a bit on her plate, which makes it likely that she will burn out. Avoiding burnout is important for stress levels and mental health. A moderate amount of stress is healthy as we can't avoid it. This is life, but too much stress can cause health issues. If you can relate to that, just press like, or if you think that this is true, definitely agree with me. Okay. So I love this definition of mom burnout, which I got from Scary Mom, which I actually love their blog. I love their Instagram and all that good stuff. So the definition for burnout. Burnout feels like you are struggling through life, trying to make it through the day until you hit the sheets, only to wake up to do it all over again. Burnout steals your joy, zaps your energy, and makes you moody, okay? And it's true, I couldn't explain it any better than that. So let me tell you some signs of burnout. Irritability. So because you're tired, or I know in my case, because sometimes I'm so tired, when you're tired, you become irritable. Every single thing annoys you. Number 2, you can have low productivity, lack of motivation, slipping job performance, just because you're so stressed, because all you're thinking about is sleep. And then number 3, you may have a negative attitude towards yourself and others because you may feel there are things that you want to get done, and there's things that you kind of know better to do, but you just can't do it because the stress and the tiredness and everything that's going on, it kind of clouds, your judgment and you knowing what to do, it makes it that much more difficult. Also, being burnt out can cause sleep problems because you're either not sleeping or you're not getting enough sleep, okay? So let me give you some tips on avoiding burnout. If you agree with me, be sure to comment, show some love, hearts, likes, all that good stuff. So, tips to avoid burnout. Number 1, admit that you are burnt out. Admit that you have a problem. When you can't admit that you have a problem, guess what? You're not going to think you have a problem, and you're not going to be able to solve that problem. Number 2, say no sometimes. A lot of times people ask you to do things. They ask you to go places. They ask you for things, and a lot of times you cannot provide it for them. You have to learn how to say no, and you have to stop saying yes to make others feel good. Say yes or say no to make yourself feel good, You are only obligated to you and your family and whatever other responsibilities that you choose to want to say yes to or be obligated to. Number 3, take a break for yourself. I know that a lot of us, we have children, and sometimes it's hard to take that break away from them. It's hard to say, oh, I need to take some time for myself because I want to do this or I need to do that, because then you have that guilt. You're like, oh my gosh, I work so much. I don't spend that much time with my kids. I need to spend all of my free time with my kids. Sometimes you do need that break for yourself. It's very important. Or you may not trust certain people to watch your children, or you don't feel like paying people. I know that it can be quite costly to have people watch your children. However, sometimes it's necessary for your sanity. Number 4, stop trying to multitask all the time. Whether you're at work or at home, live in the moment, be present in the moment. It's a lot of things that we want to do, and there's time for it all, but we have to start to put things in matter of importance. What's important that needs to get done now? What can wait till later? So, yeah. And, stop chasing perfection. It doesn't exist. Perfection does not exist. Okay. Repeat it with me. Perfection does not exist. Whether at work or at home, there's always going to be something. We're not perfect. Okay. We're not robots. Find a way to cope with the stress. So whether you have to go to therapy, or whether you have to go to the gym, or whether you have to call a friend, whether you have to have a glass of wine, whatever and however you cope with stress, do it, because it's necessary. Okay. Now that we discussed ways to avoid burnout, I'm going to tell you how to be proactive as opposed to being reactive. So when you're proactive, you try to get ahead of the problem, ahead of the issue, as opposed to reacting after there is an issue. Okay. So these are the things that you can do to avoid or be proactive as opposed to being reactive. Number 1, avoid negative and judgmental people. Okay. Avoid negative and judgmental people. People will criticize you all the time. And a lot of times it's people that are not walking in your shoes. It's a lot of times that's people that's not walking in your shoes. And they sit there and they're on the outside looking at your life, trying to tell you what you should do better, what you can do, what you shouldn't be doing, what you could do. It's just all kinds of nonsense. And sometimes their advice is solid, and then sometimes their advice may not be solid. So, for example, I had my child about almost 2 years ago now. And, because in the Instagram world, I'm like this fitness influencer, so to speak. And a lot of people look up to me. And, I had my child 2 years ago, and I'm still not small. I wasn't all that small before I had him, but of course, I weigh 30 pounds more since, that I gained after I had him. And, I've had people say to me, oh my gosh, you're such an influencer. You should be losing all this weight. You shouldn't be as big as you are. You should this, you should that. You have no excuses, blah, 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 blah. Y'all wouldn't believe it. And they'll point me to another mom that may have just had a baby, 6 months ago. But guess what? This mom doesn't have a full-time job. This mom may not have, multiple children. This mom may not have a spouse. This mom may have a total different life from me. So you cannot compare. I cannot compare my life to somebody else's life. Like, you have to live your own life. You have to be wary of those people. You do not need that kind of negativity in your life. And if those people choose to come along, you just got to cut them off. Stop listening to them. Okay. Cut them off. Number 2, find support systems, whether it's a friend that you have, or whether it's a therapist, or whether it's your spouse. Hey, Fatima. You want to have support systems where, because like I said, we live life and things are going to happen in life and you just have to deal with it. But sometimes when things become too much and you don't deal with it, you have to take it to another level. So find somebody that's in the same shoes, and talk to them, or become a buddy with them, or join a Facebook group. Like, I have a Facebook group for busy working moms, and we could get in there and we could talk about our issues. Of course, I would love more feedback from people in that group, because that's what it's for. It's a place for us to vent or talk, or, and I want to know too what the issues are so that I can better address the issues as they come. Number 3, spend some time with your significant other. Sometimes we get so caught up, especially if you have younger children, Sometimes you and your spouse may get so caught up in the kids, that you forget about yourself, or you forget about your relationship, or you just forget about everything, and it becomes all about the kids. And when you do that, you can create burnout because you're not thinking about yourself. And if you're not taking care of yourself, guess what? You're not going to be able to take care of those kids. Number 3, don't overcommit or overschedule. Like I said, let things play out the way they're supposed to play out. Figure out what's the most important thing and roll with that. And if there's some things on your to-do list that can't be done, oh well, like there's another day. You know, let's live the work. No, let's live another day. Number 5, take care of yourself. So however that is, take care of yourself. So for some people, that's going to the gym. For some people, that may be going to a church or institution, or it may be going out with your girlfriends. You know, so many different things that you can do to take care of yourself. Hold on 1 second, y'all. I'm sorry about that. Hold on. I'm sorry, y'all. That's the school bus for my son. Okay. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do not let work rule you, okay? You have a job. Do not let work rule you. When you have your job, you have vacation time. You have sick time. Some people even have personal time. Take your time. Stop trying to be that hero that never want to take time off because you just feel you just don't need time off. You want to just show your bosses that you're like Superman or Superwoman. Use your time. You know, sometimes even with the sick time, you don't have to be physically sick. Sometimes you're mentally sick. Sometimes you need a break. You know, use your time. You know, so that's what I wanted to share with you for the signs of burnout. So like I said, signs of burnout, you could become irritable, low productivity, negative attitude towards self, sleep problems. Tips to avoid burnout. Admit that you're burnt out. Say no. Stop saying yes all the time. Take a break from your children at times. Stop multitasking. Stop chasing perfection because it doesn't exist. And find a way to cope with the stress, okay? Become proactive, not reactive when you do realize that maybe you could become burnt out. Avoid negative and judgmental people. Get support systems. Spend time with your significant other. Take care of yourself. Don't let work rule you, okay? So just a bit of my personal story really quick. I know some of y'all have been seeing a status about me quitting a job because my health was failing and all that stuff. So basically, for those of you that have been following me, I work 2 full-time. Oh, hey Elaine, I should have been watching this one. Hey Elaine, just a little bit of my personal story. So I was working 2 full-time jobs. And it was out of necessity because I'm kind of more or less the breadwinner in my household. You know, I have a lot of people to take care of and a lot of bills. And I started falling behind because too, I want to like build my business. So I had to get another source of income, which is the reason I took another job. However, you know, I'm sitting here and I'm working Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. And then I'm doing Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. And then I was doing Saturday through Tuesday, 12 to 8. So from Monday and Tuesday, I was literally going from the overnight job to the day job. And now, like on Fridays, so meaning basically I only sleep at home 3 days a week, okay? I only sleep at home 3 days a week, which is crazy. So you can just imagine all the stress that I put on myself, trying to work, falling asleep. It was just like really, really crazy. I have to go get my son, y'all. So I'm going to have to cut this short, but I will come back and tell more of my story. Thank y'all for tuning in. I'll talk to y'all later.